What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. We got less than 5 minutes to go. Lukasz is in the background, ready to answer all your questions. Today's topics, we'll be talking about a SuperGap analysis, SEO pre-assessments, and an SEO dashboard. Today's sponsor, hrefs.com/AWT. Welcome, everyone. Ethan, what's up, my man? Glenn, what's up, dog? Andrew, what's up, Drew? All right. Thomason, what's up? Hobby, my main man, how you doing today? Today's topics, SEO, SuperGap analysis, SEO pre-assessments, and an SEO dashboard that you can all use. We have a dashboard by Lukasz that you can all download. I'll give you the link later. Oh, I see Lukasz in the live chats. All right, guys, we got less than 3 minutes to go. I had a little technical difficulties, but now we should be all good. Today's topics, again, SuperGap analysis, SEO pre-assessments. Stefan, what's up? How you doing, my man? All right, guys. If you guys want to win a free copy of the SEO in 2022 book, Lukasz is one of my fellow contributing authors in this book. Tell me the number. What page number does he start on? Let me know. The closest one will get a copy of the book. And if you are in the US, I will mail you a copy, an actual copy. But if you're out of the US, I will Kindle you a copy. So let me know what your guess is. Put it in the live chat. Put it in the comments below. If you're watching the replay, I will send you the copy of this SEO in 2020 book. All right, guys. Today we'll be talking about a SuperGap analysis, which is referenced in the book, and SEO pre-assessments, and an SEO dashboard. Do you guys want a Hrefs t-shirt, notebook, mug? Check it out. All you got to do is count how many times you see this logo pop up on screen, and I'll give you a gift package from Hrefs. That was one. Here's two. Here's three. All right, guys. Be sure to watch it throughout the show. It'll pop up. Adrian, my man, how you doing today? All right, guys. We got less than a minute to go. This should be very fun. I see Rick Tracewell. What's up? His guess is 42. Hobby's guess is 3. All right, one more time, guys. SuperGap analysis, SEO pre-assessments, and they sponsor hrefs.com/AWT. It's gonna be a fun one, guys.
Get it started, no delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Call Andre DeVera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show. Hey!
Hey, Welcome to another episode of the SEO Video Show, where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul-Andre de Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released in the past week into about 1-minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest this week is Lukasz Zelezny. All right, before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. Hobby, Adrian, Rick, Stefan, Lucas, Thomason, Ethan, Glenn, Andrew. Welcome everyone. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And then don't forget to put I love SEO in the live chats. Guess the number which Lucas is on, and I'll send you a free copy of this book. All right, on with the show.
This is Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. What kind of fruit do SEOs like best? Low hanging.
All right, guys. First was some Google news. How does Google actually posted a video this week on their Google Search Central channel on how does the geographic location of a web server affect SEO? Let's check it out.
When it comes to moving hosting, you might see our systems initially slowing down crawling a bit. Anytime we recognize a hosting change, we want to be sure that we don't cause any problems. And so we tend to automatically slow down crawling as a precaution. Over time, once our systems can tell that going faster doesn't cause any issues, we'll speed up again. This is independent of the kind of hosting change that you make. It doesn't matter if you're moving to a different provider down the road or moving to another country. One practical effect you might notice is that larger geographic moves can affect how quickly a website loads for users. Due to physics and computer networking, it can take longer to reach a server that's far away. Depending on how strongly this is visible, that can play a role in speed and the page experience ranking factor for a website. To be as close as possible to users, some websites even use servers in many different locations. A content delivery network often does this. If you're using a hosting platform, they may already be doing this for you too. This configuration is fine for Google. With regards to SEO, the server's location is not used for geo-targeting. If you want your website to target users in a specific location, you would need to use either the country code top-level domain or the appropriate setting in Google Search Console.
All right. This past week on the Authority Hackers show, the guys over there told us the first step to get ranking. You know, there's some basic stuff. Let's check this one out.
With the first step, and the first step when you create content is to not start writing. The first step is to Google the keywords that you want to rank for. And the first thing to do is understand the high level of the search intent, which is understand what format of article Google is looking for. Really, if you don't match the format of article Google wants for a query, it's still possible to rank, but it's very rare. Like you find 80% plus of the result of any keyword will have the same format, whether it's a list post, a step-by-step post, a recipe, a review, whatever it is, a roundup review, a list, that kind of stuff. You will have to match the format, otherwise you're really reducing your chances massively. It doesn't mean you can't rank, but it's much, much lower.
Sometimes for very low competition keywords where not less than 10 people have actually targeted it with a specific post, you will see a list post, a longer question post type format, and it will vary a bit more, but that's when there's nothing else that fits perfectly. So if you're in that situation, look for the articles or the pages which are specifically targeting that keyword. They've got it in the title. That's what the content's about. And then
SERP analysis is critical, and I have to remind my colleagues and clients to do the same on making sure they do a Google search first to see what type of content actually ranks. It'll minimize the dreaded question on why we are not ranking. Okay, speaking of content, Ross Simmonds posted a new video this week titled Sherlock Homeboy Technique. Let's check this one out.
What content is generating tons and tons of backlinks on the SERP? What content is generating the most shares on social? What content is generating the most engagement and traction with press? We reverse engineer these types of things by going into communities like Reddit and sorting by the top posts and seeing what content rose to the top in this subreddit amongst an audience that we care about. And once we analyze that, we look for trends. You look for trends to see what content, what topics, what themes, what stories are constantly resonating with people in these different groups and on these different channels. And once you understand those themes, you then are going to start studying the format. What formats are resonating on these different channels? Because every channel is going to be different. On Twitter, threads are really hot. On Instagram, reels are really hot. And on Reddit, long form content is really hot. Every different channel has a different format that people want and resonate with. You study that, you learn it, you apply an insight around the stories and themes that resonate on those channels, and then you create it. You create the content that your audience wants. You distribute it in these channels, and you set the communities on fire. You embrace the Sherlock Homeboy approach. It starts with research, understanding your audience, understanding the content they want, the formats in which they want it in, and then you give it to them over and over again until you see a return on your content marketing investment.
We also have to remind ourselves not to create content just for Google, right? But we need to create content for our audience. So this is something we have to also keep in mind. And Ross drops a bunch of knowledge bombs on episode 52. So be sure to check that one out. All right. So Matt Diggity released a new video on how to double website traffic in less than 6 months. Let's check out his e-commerce site architecture.
Here's how you do the same. Have a shallow crawl depth. Users should be able to reach each page on your site from the home page in no more than 4 clicks. Split products into relevant categories and subcategories. This diagram depicts a pretty nice structure. If you have products that fit into more than one category page, for example, you might have a shoe that's both casual and athletic, I highly recommend using rel canonical to point to the most relevant category URL for the product. Just decide which category that is. Ensure each level on the structure links back to the level above it. Products should link up to subcategories. Subcategories should link to parent categories, and so forth. And lastly, be clear and simple. Structure your pages to reflect how users would visit your site in a logical and clear fashion. Now, if you set up your structure clearly, your URLs are going to be clean too. I recommend using a URL structure like this. You got categories after the domain name, subcategories after categories, and products after the subcategories. In practice, if you had an e-commerce store selling phones, it would look like this. Here's some more tips when creating your URLs. Aim to keep them short and sweet. Try to include your core keywords within the URL. Separate words with hyphens instead of underscores. And make it easy for users to understand the hierarchy of pages.
All right. So be sure to check the full video out because he does a lot of knowledge bombs in that one. Okay. So reviews are very important when it comes to your e-commerce site or your local service site. So can you control online reviews? Elijah Koroba tells us what we can do on CaliCube. Let's check it out.
It saves you lots of time. And the second one is reviews. We have not touched upon reviews a lot, but I suggest people creating different places for their reviews of their own, which they do control. This, I do suggest you create another review subdomain, review page on your website and on other everywhere, not just Yelp or some big companies or big websites. Create something that you can control for reviews especially, and you'll see how advantageous it can be for you in the long run.
So this is a great idea. If you think about it, you collect all your positive 5-star reviews and then add them to a single page on your site, and then add the schema, add the product reviews, and then you'll actually have a 5-star rating on Google with those product reviews. Okay, that wraps up our videos for this week. But before I introduce my guest, let me have a word from our sponsor. Are you sick of your competitors outranking you in the search results? Your solution is Ahrefs Webmaster Tools, and it's free $99. This isn't one of your 14-day free trial offers. Instead, it's a super powerful tool that'll do a full website audit for you and keep working for you for free. It'll scan your site and prioritize precisely what you need to fix and improve for your search results. Visit ahrefs.com webmaster-tools for this free tool. Find the link below, and by checking our sponsors, you support this show. Now let's introduce our guest. Lukasz is the former head of organic acquisition at Uswitch and director of SEO at Zoopla. He was voted top 10 influential social media personality in UK. He started his professional career in 2005 and has since been responsible for all organic performance of many companies, including Homeway and Thomas Reuters. He actively participates in 10 to 20 events in SEO and social media keynote speaker every year. Please welcome the founder of seo.london, Lukasz Zelezny. welcome Lukasz to the show. How are you doing today?
Hey, thank you for having me. What an introduction. Wow. Didn't expect that. Thank you.
Okay. Welcome. Everyone give him a round of applause. All right, Lukasz, I'm going to go right into it. This is the first question I always ask my guests right when they come on. Like in 1 minute or less, how does Lukasz get ranking on page 1 of Google?
Lots of... I don't understand actually how am I going to rank on number 1, or can you sorry, I'm just still under impression of this introduction.
No, it's all good. Okay, so like, a lot of people will talk about like how they get ranking. So I want you to quickly, in just less than 1 minute, tell us like what is your process of making sure the top things to rank on Google?
Gotcha. Unfortunately, I will probably disappoint 99% of people, but if someone is asking me as a prospective clients, can you make me rank on top on that keyword? I am saying next. Sorry, I cannot help you because majority what I'm looking at, it's at traffic, So obviously, keywords are important, the rankings are important, but overall, I'm looking at the traffic, and this is my KPI. It's never about the specific keyword, specific ranking. They are various. They can fluctuate. Depends where you're looking at the ranking. When you're looking, when you're checking what is your geolocation, what is your VPN connection, and so on and so on. So unfortunately, maybe I'm in the minority, but I don't mind to be in minority. But ranking is never, so I don't have an answer for that question. That's why I was like a bit, I was like, am I understand that correctly? Yeah.
All right, first knowledge bomb over there. Okay, it's not just about rankings, guys. Making sure you get the actual traffic and all this, making sure your KPIs are correct, not just about rankings. All right, let's rewind this real quick, Lukasz. Hold on. All right, take us way back into the time. How did you first get into SEO?
Okie dokie. I was doing probably SEO, not knowing even that this is SEO. Back in the day, I'm quite old, I think, comparing to your audience. At least I feel like that sometimes. I was born in Poland, in a relatively small town. I was always into music, and I wanted to play in the clubs. Clubs which are playing drum and bass. Drum and bass, unfortunately, on the beginning of 2000, been only in the big cities. And I knew that the only way to get there, to get booking, is to have a website. So I started thinking what the website should be like, how it should be ranking, and so on and so on, step by step by step. And then suddenly I started getting bookings, and I was like, wow, it works. So I started learning what to do next. I started reading this very early stage articles, and so on and so on. Then 2007, actually 2005, I started working in one Polish company. Then I decided to move to UK. That was 2007. And since then, I was always working in SEO. Music become my hobby, and, SEO become my,
All right, and speaking of music, I can't wait till later on. So you guys stay till the very end, because we're gonna have a special musical performance by Lukasz. Okay, but before we get into that, I want to go. So you went to learning about SEO, but so how did you learn it? Like you said, were you like reading blog posts? But like, who were you reading? Were you going? What websites were you looking at? Are they still around today? Let us know so we can share with the audience.
I think I had an access to some white papers those days, relatively scientific white papers. There were already books. Me as a kid, especially, I was learning, my colleagues were chasing football, playing soccer, and I was staying at home with my Amiga Commodore computer, and I was trying to learn how to, for example, code in assembler, and everything what I knew was from the books. I spent all my money I had on books, so the first books I had were about SEO, were some translation from the books from the Western world that been available in Poland. From the early blogs, I remember Aaron Wall, SEO book.com. I think it's already kind of frozen, but he was one of the very early very early stage man. And obviously that was those days. It was very early stage in US. I think not you couldn't do this even in commercially in Europe because it was too early, too fast. It was almost like Bitcoin in 2009. Like people heard something, but they were not thinking that this is useful. What is this generally? So it was that early stage.
Love it. Yeah, I'm also learned SEO from Aaron Wall when he actually was sending out these PDFs all the time, and then he would actually update it. At first, he was updating it once a month, and then he started updating it very frequently. And I would actually print that out, and I was like, oh man! So I just stopped printing it out because it got pretty expensive back then. But speaking of books, SEO in 2022 book is something that we're both in here, and I want to get into you guys. If you guys want to copy this book, put in the number of what you think Lukasz's page starts on, and you'll get a copy of the book. All right. So speaking of this book, I want to go ahead and start. The topic that you talk about here is called SuperGap analysis. Can you explain a little bit? What is a SuperGap analysis?
Yes. So we had the lovely gentleman on one of the video recap that was talking about the type of content, keywords, and so on and so on. SuperGap analysis is taking 5 or more competitors, take your client website, and then measure, first identify a bunch of keywords that competitors are ranking, ideally simultaneously, and your client is not. And then start finding a sweet, start clustering this. What I'm using is a Ngrams, so the most popular one words in the set of keywords that makes your website, not your client website, not ranking and competitors ranking. And then I'm trying to find also these cross sections. So let's say 3 or more competitors simultaneously are ranking, or 4 or more, or 5 or more. I was preparing for this conversation, and I remember when I was doing just for fun golf equipment providers SEO analysis, it was a SuperGap, and thanks to that I was able, I have this on in front of me, I was able to understand straight away that if I would enter this industry, no matter with new website or for one of my clients, something like what is a golf launch monitor, what is SkyTrack, what is a TrackMan cost. That are keywords which are very popular in that industry. Or for example, how much does golf simulator cost? How to use SkyTrack, and so on and so on. So it's a very, very helpful methodology when you are not an industry expert, when you're getting into new industry and you quickly want to learn what the industry is talking about, what are the keywords and so on, and also where are these gaps, what that your client not rank doesn't rank and you competitors are ranking.
Love it. First knowledge bomb there. Okay, there's something that maybe some of the audience doesn't understand. It's like, what are Ngrams? Can you explain what Ngrams are?
Yes. So Ngrams, that's one gram. That's like you taking a keyword and you're taking the word, the one word. The 2 grams, that are 2 words. 3 grams, that are 3 words. And then you're measuring the frequency. If you would have a client who is operating in the holiday industry, probably the most popular Ngrams would be like holidays, vacation, ticket, flight, and the 2 grams may be city breaks, cheap holidays too, and so on and so on. So that's pretty much, it's like taking all the keywords, sticking them together, and then trying to start slicing this and measuring a frequency. There is that will be very useful for audience. SEO Quake have this built in up to 4 grams. So SEO Quake Chrome plugin. You go into any website, you click SEO Quake, and that moment it is slicing this into this 1, 2, 3, 4 grams. And you can go to your competitor or someone who is ranking very high, and you can see what are the frequency of each grams or in the content.
Love it. SEO Quake, guys, make sure to check that out. And Ngrams can also work with paid search too, right? Because this is something that I've actually kind of had familiar with Ngrams when I first started doing it. It's like with your paid search queries report, right? Is this something that you do too with paid search?
I'm not doing anything with paid search, but I know that this methodology come from paid search, and I think it was first used. I saw this first on some articles about paid search.
Love it. All right, guys. We have a question already right here by Victor. He goes, what SEO tools do you use to do your SuperGap analysis? So I'm guessing, like, what are certain tools that you use to, like, how do you grab all the information? How are you finding all the Ngrams? I know you mentioned SEO Quake. What other tools do you use?
So in general, you can use any tool which is able to pull list of keywords per search volume for given website. So that can be Ahrefs, SEMrush, Searchmetrics, Systrix, SpyFu. At least this 5. But if you want to get this much faster, then you can start with SEMrush, for example, because SEMrush have built, or SE ranking as well. SEMrush have built-in gap analysis where you can choose up to 5 competitors. What is also great, they are also preserving in the gap analysis URLs. So you can see what are the cross-section that bunch of maybe not bunch, but few websites are ranking on the same set of keywords with the same URL. So, for example, I have right now a client who is operating in a dog supplement industry, and we can easily find that, for example, what does it mean that the dog running in the circles? Why my dog running in the circles? Why dog run in the circles? All 4 competitors will have all dedicated page for this kind of keywords. And this is a strong signal that we should also write about something like that.
Love it. Okay, you guys talk about like a lot of competitors. So I'm curious, like, then how do you choose the competitors?
There are 2 methods. One is that I always try to listen to my customer. Who you think is your competitor? And we have this conversation. But unfortunately, sometimes, especially for smaller website, even the website owners are not accurate. So I'm looking on similarities in traffic, similarities in keywords. How many common keywords 2 websites have. If there is nice overlap, that may means that these 2 websites are operating in the same industry. The problems is happening. I was faster. The problem happens when, the problems happen when you have this kind of situations that you have market like how you call this? No, for example, e-commerce. E-commerce. Everyone can have a bit different areas, and then client is saying like, "Oh, but these are not my keywords." I was like, "Listen, this is a SuperGap analysis. Here is 80,000 keywords, and on the top are the most relevant. And I'm the last one to tell that everything here needs to be used. We can then go to the step 2, and we can select what keywords we want to go with."
Got it. All right, so when you're doing this, you mentioned like you can pick the competitors, but how about like, and they give you their competitor names, but how about the ones like the actually competitors on the SERP itself? Do you actually use those? Because like sometimes they may mention like, "Oh, this is my competitor," but in reality, on Google, it may be like a totally company that they didn't even mention because it's just they're ranking for it. Like it may not be another company, but it may be like a website that's just ranking for those keywords. Do you include those in the gap analysis?
When you looking on the gap analysis, you need to find competitors which are not only ranking on 2, 5, 10 keywords simultaneously. You need 100 to 500,000 keywords that are ranking simultaneously. SEMrush, for example, have built in something like it's measuring when you type your website and you will see all the details they will show. There is a section about competitors. By default, it's sorted by similarity of the keywords, traffic, whatever. They call this commonality or something like that. And that is that's very often very accurate approach to figure out who should we take as a competitors. What is also good, I can export this, let's say first 50, send to my clients and say like, listen, choose 10 from that list. And they will be like, oh yeah, I recognize them. I was like, yeah, voila, this. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so you mentioned like you do get like thousands of keywords, and how do you prioritize which keywords to go for? Like say the client goes, oh wow, that's a lot of keywords, let's go after all of them. I mean, what do you tell them?
Yeah, so the prioritization is happening in the two ways. One, by the URLs of competitors, like I showed you this example about the dog spinning in the circle. Yeah, everybody wrote about this. Everybody have a page. Or for example, white gold rings for wedding, or white gold wedding bands, yellow gold wedding bands. So I can see that this category exists on 3 others. I know that, hey, my client is selling gold. Why he doesn't have this? If competitors have this, then probably they have this not because of the coincidence, but because of the fact that people are searching that. And that's one. The other one is that I have a special formula which is measuring the priority of the keyword. The formula is taking on the board search volume, is taking on the board average ranking of the competitors, and cost per click. If cost per click is non-zero, if cost per click is $5, that's definitely keywords that I would like to cover as high as possible with organic strategy. That's very caloric keyword. Search volume, bigger the better. And the average position of the competitors, closer to number 1 they are, that means that they are more fighting for this spot. So all these 3 now will give me a priority. And then when you have 100,000 keywords, you're doing double sort. First by keywords which gives the highest number of competitors simultaneously ranking. So for example, 4 competitors simultaneously ranking on this, and then immediately by priority. And trust me, I was showing this for Arabic, which I don't speak Arabic at all, maybe except of Salam Alaikum, I can say sometimes, and I understand that word. But people were like, yeah, that makes sense. How did you? I was like, because I'm converting language into numbers. And I'm converting this into some kind of interlanguage that is processed in Excel. I'm very crap in Python. I have a couple of scripts in Python, but I wouldn't say that I'm a programmer, but I can do some things in Excel. The same was with, for example, Russian language. When I prepared for a cosmetic brand a list of keywords, and the first reaction of the guys was like, that makes no sense. I was like, why? Because the keywords on the top of your list, that's our keywords we're already ranking. And I was like, are you sure? Yeah. And they went on Google and they were wrong. These keywords were not ranking, but they were looking and they were like, we must rank. They are so relevant that this is impossible that we are not ranking. And they were not ranking. And that was this moment that they've been like, wow, man, this is impressive.
Love it. So, okay, one more time, can you explain the formula? It goes the competitor ranking, it's the cost per click, and it's the search volume, right? Is it those 3?
Absolutely.
Those 3. And then you have the certain formula?
Yeah.
Nice. All right, guys. All right, so be sure to make a note of that, guys. That's an excellent way to prioritize your keywords here. Okay, so I want to go into... So we're talking about the SuperGap analysis. Like, let's say, like, you know, if someone wants to get started right now, what are like the steps, just really quickly, to like get your SuperGap analysis, like from step 1, like, you know, gathering competitors, and, you know, what's your boom steps?
I think first define a list of 4 competitors, go to SEMrush, for example, do an export, and then ideally, I think, when you will give a link to the dashboard, there is a second tab which is showing enhanced gap analysis. I don't know if you noticed that, but this dashboard that we will give to our listeners are also having an example of a gap analysis. So I think that potentially that will sort out any kind of problems. I can see on my screen that this gap analysis will contain 10,000 keywords for price comparison website in UK, like we would be working for Go Compare. Whoever is from UK and is listening to us recognize probably Go Compare, Money Supermarket, Compare the Market, Confused, and Money UK. And I can say, like, comparing prices of energy or mobile or broadband in UK is like a national sport. Everyone is doing this, and everyone wants to find a cheap deal. So this gap analysis will help a lot.
All right. So, but before we get into the SEO, are you referring to your SEO dashboard that you give away for free? Is that you can actually put the gap analysis? You can do gap analysis.
There is already in the second sheet.
Oh,
yeah, you should probably there is already. I completely forgot about this, but we have in that in that document that you will share with your people with people who are listening to us. There is organic traffic dashboard concept and enhanced gap analysis.
You know, since we're talking about that now, let's pull it up here. Let's see what we have here. We have the it's basically let me see if I can pull it up here. We have it's something where you have a spreadsheet that you give to your people. Let me see. It's right here.
Thanks, Adrian, for a shout. Yeah, I have 3 cameras.
There we go. All right, so if we take a look at this, this is the one that you actually have for free for everyone, right? And so, can you kind of explain us what's going on here? So we can download it here. So we have the organic traffic, and can you kind of walk us through this here? Wait, hold on. You're actually your audio went out. Let me go. Okay, here we go. Your audio's back on. Okay, so can you walk us through this dashboard real quick?
Yeah, but I see this very pixelated.
Oh, it's very pixelated. Okay, so if you want to, basically, I pulled up.
Yeah, but I can. I think I will be using my one copy as a reference.
Okay, yeah,
that's
so
okay.
On the very top, we see that we. Yeah, I can see you in there. Yeah, so if you can just kind of highlight the things, because everyone can see you highlight. Yeah, if you highlight and walk us through here. Yeah, there you go. So we have the organic traffic year over year.
Yeah, organic traffic year over year. And this is very good to show client, first of all, how every year this traffic is changing. And the second thing, you can also measure any kind of seasonalities and fluctuations and so on and so on. You can see that it was prepared some time ago because I have here year 2017 to 2020.
Yeah. And then we have, if you go towards the right, it goes organic traffic year over year again, but you have some graphs here.
Yeah, but this is actually organic traffic aggregated to the yearly focus, and also you have here targets. Yeah, so you have organic traffic in year 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. You're calculating growth year over year, and you have a target. In the first year, we've been 111% on target. In the second year, we've been 99% on target. In the year 2019, 207,000 versus 210,000. So we've been 98% on target. And then let's say something happened. I don't know. We acquired 3 websites, plugged everything together. And year 2020, we had 1,254,000. Like it's a hypothetical. Yeah.
That's huge. All right. So if we go over to the next part here, the linear, what's going on here?
Yeah. So here is also traffic year monthly basis with growth month over month in the column O. So you can see that from January to February grown by 7%, from Feb to March by 8%, and so on and so on and so on. There again, targets and how much on target we are. And you're using conditional formatting just to make sure that people can see where we are green, where we are red. Lots of people likes to have this,
Love it. Okay, so now we have something here, Google Search Console versus Analytics Data Check.
Yes. This is quite important thing. And here are 2 examples. I'm using this plus a correlation which is in example 2. If you scroll down to example 2, you will see this better.
Okay.
And especially this chart, which is
Okay.
next to, you see the blue line on the chart is representing Google Analytics sessions, organic. The red one is a clicks. And then you can see that suddenly something, obviously this is an example that you can see that this very, I done this intentionally to expose that, but you can see that the both lines are fluctuating very similar way, up and downs, and then somewhere in the middle, the blue line dropped immediately down when the red one is doing absolutely fine. Yeah. So you can see in the table that the correlation, which is in column F, you see this 0.9964. It was taking correlation and it was absolutely fine because it was close to 1. Correlation can be between -1 and 1. And then somehow the second attempt of measuring this, the correlation is -0.7. And that means that something is fundamentally wrong. And 9 of 10 times, that means that Google Analytics is not gathering data correctly. Either you have inflated data because of some scrapers, robots, or anything like that, or you may have underestimated data because not all the data is collected correctly.
Got it. Love it. Great stuff here. We got a question real quick from Thomason. He goes, are the data downloaded or imported via an API?
No, I'm not importing at the moment via API. This is just downloaded from search. Well, whenever I need, I would go with API. But the problem I have is that every client have own kind of little nuances, differences in terms of what is important for them. So I cannot templatize this the same way like I can kind of templatize for downloaded data.
Got it. So you downloaded this stuff and then I guess you just copy and paste the data here, or you export?
Yeah.
Just pretty much copy and paste and then it'll calculate everything.
That's correct, because formula are staying, so you can do this for yourself.
All right, now we have the enhanced gap example. So this is your gap analysis here. So you have
absolutely.
This looks pretty intensive here. So can you walk us through this right here?
Absolutely. So take a look. You have Go Compare, which is on red and everywhere is 0. So we can say, imagine that we together today started working for Go Compare. And this is price comparison website. The other website we have Money Supermarket, Compare the Market, Confuse Money. And that's our competitors. And the zeros means that they are not ranking. Go Compare is not ranking on these keywords in column A. Medical Insurance UK is on the top because now take a look. Money Supermarket, Compare the Market, Confuse, and Money, all 4 are ranking, and all 4 are ranking quite high, and the search volume is also quite high. Because of that, column M, N, and O, so match, this is 4, because 4 competitors is ranking. Average is the average ranking from competitors that ranks, and then priority, which is the super sexy formula that is taking, if you highlight this, you can see that is taking search volume, CPC, and average. And I can maybe I can edit this. Take a look what will happen if I will change average from 7 to 50. Let's say it changed. Priority dropped down massively to 15.
So what's the
search volume?
What's the average again? What's this average?
Average is the ranking.
Oh, okay. Oh, got it. And then all this formula is in the back end. So all you have to do is populate the data, and then this is some great stuff. Yeah.
You like it?
Yeah, I love it. Love it.
That. And now so now take a look. Cost per click, $14.78. Let me put here crazy $150. See, 7,000 now priority is from 772. And then finally, match. If you change match, it doesn't change priority, but would after next sort would be automatically moving down, because you can see that match 4 first are all the keywords with match 4, which means all the keywords that for competitors is ranking. And then if you scroll down, you will see that there are keywords with 3.
Oh, yeah.
The first one is quote me happy, which I don't know, but elephant insurance, and also and so on, because Moneyco UK is not ranking on these keywords.
So you can actually then like organize this by priority, right? Like from highest priority, then you can pick your keywords that way, right? So if you
yes, but but first you're sorting by match and then by priority. Okay. So it's double sort.
Got it. Love it. Okay, that was some great stuff there. Let me go put us back on the camera. Okay, that was some great stuff there. That was very, very helpful and a great resource, which I will put the link in the description later on. But so be sure to check that one out. I want to go into the one more thing is that you do, because so now you have this for your clients. You do something called an SEO pre-assessment, and this is something that I think a lot of people that want to do consulting should be doing, right? You need to like figure out like if this is the right client for you. I'm curious, like can you walk us through your SEO pre-assessment?
Absolutely. So the whole story starts when client is contacting me. There is always a form which is asking about competitors, which is asking about website, which is asking about budget, couple of simple questions, but I can see where the client's mindset is. Unfortunately, I cannot talk. I don't have a time to talk to clients who are sending email, are you doing SEO or I need SEO? It's probably, we have different mindset. Then the second thing is that after that I have a conversation via Google Hangouts, Google Meet, where I'm talking about fundamental thing, which is what client really needs. Because very often I meet clients who are saying like, oh yeah, but I don't want another PDF or another Excel sheets. And I'm like, listen, one of the service I am doing is an audit. And if you already done 3 and you didn't found added value, either audit been crap or this is not what you're looking for. Because when you have a client who is saying that in last 2 years we were having 4 agencies and they've been all crap, that is a red light, for maybe a warning sign that there must be some form of misunderstanding and not necessarily fault on the side of 4 different SEO agencies. And now the next thing is like, listen, I am a consultant, so you need to have your in-house team. Do you have an in-house team that I will be working with? Because I'm always, in the first minute, I'm always saying like, listen, I'm not a freelancer. I'm not a guy who will be writing title tags. I'm not a guy who will be writing content, and so on and so on and so on. And I sometimes had this kind of honest question from the client who was like, okay, but I have a content writer, so why do I need you? And I'm like, very good question. Like I'm the last one to be judgmental. I'm very grateful that you're asking me this, because that is helping us to jump over some bumpy road that may happen. And I'm like, listen, because content writer will not do gap analysis, because content writer will not do snapshot method, anti-snapshot method, I will not do any keyword research, and will not understand many principles, will write you a content, and that's it. And I'm not talking about technicalities, I'm not talking about links and so on and so on.
Excellent.
All right.
This conversation is important to make sure that you and the client, you are both on the same page.
Yeah, love that. I mean, that's something that you definitely should make sure, because I mean, at least they may think you're not doing your job right and you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, but getting that settled in the very beginning.
Let me say one more thing. I have sometimes clients who are coming to me. We have initial conversation, then they going somewhere else, or I'm on initially saying like, listen, I'm not a one-stop shop. You're looking for an SEO agency which will do A to Z and so on and so on. And they coming back to me after a year. They say like, yeah, it was okay-ish, this and that, but I would like to work with you. And I'm like, okay, and what can I do for you? I would like this keyword to be first. And I'm like, no, this is not how I'm working. I cannot help you here. Okay, but so can you give me 10 links a month? No, this is also not what I'm doing. And when you're saying in the beginning like that, that can preserve lots of frustration on both sides, and people are respect, and and sometimes even I need to say, sometimes there are situations that that I'm saying like, listen, I cannot work with you because you are, and your company have zero control on what is on the developer side. You have outsourced this so far away. Nobody have a control. The developers are deploying code the way they want, the way how they want, doing lots of mistakes, and I cannot take any responsibility for this. That's why I'm taking a step back. And it's also like a peaceful relation.
Love that. That's some great advice. Very great advice. I mean, that's something that I kind of overlook, and but that is very important when you start working with clients and making the level setting right there. But we're getting a bunch of questions real quick. Let me go ahead and just get them before I ask my last question and we get into our special performance here, because we're coming close to time. So Victor asks, do you have a pre-assessment template?
No, this is more conversation, and this is on the website. There is, on my website, if you go, there is SEO pre-assessment, but this is only to make the lead a qualified lead.
Got it. All right. Thomason asks, how do you approach content and links?
How do I approach content and links?
Yeah.
That's a very, very good question. With links, with a bit, with bigger companies, you can. My favorite method, one of the favorite method, is claiming unlinked mentions, especially when company is having own brand name, which is not a generic name, not Booking.com or hotels. Repointing links that are pointing to social media profile rather than pointing to your website. Yeah, that's another thing. But again, I don't want to sound like I'm like super grumpy, but even before we started today, I saw like guy on one of the group, who's Polish group. They're like, I'm looking for interesting places for links, so I will post articles. Yeah. They always looking for interesting places to post articles to get links from. They never saying, I have extremely interesting articles I would like to post somewhere so your audience can read. And I think this is the biggest headache of today internet. There is so much low quality content. There is probably more articles about how to write quality content than quality content itself. And that on the other side, I will give you an example. When I was this is my approach to content. My approach to content is that I am getting a bit fed up with repeating over and over. Ginkgo biloba. That are these leaves. When you have gentian root, then ginkgo biloba, that's our leaves. And it's a supplement. And you typing, is ginkgo biloba good for your health? You're landing, obviously, we're on top 10 things you should know about ginkgo biloba. 15 things you cannot forget about ginkgo biloba. 25 things you need to know about ginkgo biloba. Every article looks the same. And then somewhere that deep down, there is this white paper from University of somewhere, which is showing you 10-page PDF, which is a scientific approach to ginkgo biloba. And this is very, very valuable article, which is buried somewhere on the bottom of search, because it's not entertaining, because you will need to focus, and so on and so on. So my approach to content is that I'm trying to, as much as possible, write not undirectly duplicated content. I call this undirectly duplicated content, which means let's write once again about the same,
Love it. Hope that answers your question, Thomason. Let me pull a couple more here. Let's see here. Brian says, love this. Oh, money's in the numbers. Get it and learn spreadsheet, folks. Yes. All right, let's see here. We got one more. Let's see. We had some questions earlier. I want to get one to them. One from Hobby here asks, how do you test SEO changes?
How do I test SEO changes? I test SEO changes very I would say, primitive, but doing the job way. I have Wincher, where I'm checking rankings, and I trust Search Console when it's about traffic. So all the changes that are performed on the page. Then I have these two metrics, two KPIs. I have a couple of keywords per URL that are stored in Wincher, and then after the change has been committed, I can see what is the impact on rankings and what is the impact on traffic. I don't use anything like SEO Pilot and all this ODM stuff because it's too expensive, I think, and it's great software to have this on the scale. And I've been working in one company where we were using this quite sophisticated way, but I think it's too much when you are one man consultant.
Love it. Okay, so we're coming very, very close on time here. I want to make sure I ask this question before I let you go because we want to get your performance in here. But I ask this question to all my SEO professionals that come on here. If someone wants to get into the SEO game, become an SEO professional, what would your advice be to them?
I think the first you would need to do is to be comfortable with numbers. You cannot imagine how many people these days I was recruiting in last 15 years had problem to calculate persons, had problem to understand what does share mean, had problem to understand what does it mean, that the difference is in percent or, like that's are just basics. I'm not saying that my math number focus approach to SEO is the most important, but it can only help. And the second thing is that I would say try to make sure that you have some form of mentorship. It doesn't need to be personal. It can be online. It can be from various people. Read a lot. Don't afraid to change the job. I was changing my job quite often. It's not like you need to stay for a couple of years and so on and so on. No, not at all. And the last thing, if you feel like something, a role do you want to apply, maybe too difficult for you, that's probably the way to go. You always need to challenge yourself.
Oh, I love that advice. Apply for roles that are pretty hard. Just go out and challenge yourself because you'll be forced to learn certain things, right? You will learn it if you really want that role. Love that advice. Okay, Lukasz, we're ready here. I think we're all ready here. I'm gonna put the screen onto you. If you can are you set up to go ahead and for your performance here?
I mean, this is performance. I think this is too much to say, but if you're asking, this is my how to say stress relief approach. So I can play something. Nothing special, but yeah.
Oh, yes. Lovely, lovely. That was so awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. If anyone wants to get a hold of you, how can someone find you?
The best is seo.london, no .com, nothing, just seo.london. My name and surname is also quite unique. If you type Lukasz Zelezny into Google, you will find my LinkedIn, you will find my Twitter. The best is LinkedIn and the best is website. So yeah, look, I'm always open to have a conversation, and yeah, I'm very overwhelmed by the audience and by your energy. That is giving me like, yeah. Finally, weekend.
Yes. Okay, the audience loves everything. You can see all their comments coming in. But you know what, Lucas, I have to let you go. But can you hold on for just one quick second while I sign off real quick? All right. All right, guys. That concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And also, don't forget to visit our sponsor, hrefs.com/AWT. Get free access to hrefs.com. All right, that concludes it. I will see you guys next week. We have Holly Starks coming in next week, so I'll see you next week. Peace out. All right.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, because the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!